love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thanks to beloved Baba, so sweet of him to allow us to meet in this fashion so that we remember him at least for a few hours in the day. Before we begin, we would all like to wish our very dear Datta Sanap a very happy birthday. Datta, please come on the screen.
Yeah.
Datta ji, no, come on where's the screen? Okay, Datta is on the screen. You can see Datta Sanap. It's his birthday today, so let's unmute for a moment and let's all sing a happy birthday song to him, and then we move on with our reading. Jai Baba. To you, happy birthday, dear Datta. Happy birthday to you. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Datta ji, we wish you all the very best. Baba bless you in all your endeavor. For those who do not know Datta, he's from Bombay. He's a very silent worker, very helpful also because he holds a good position in Mantralaya, so he can be of help to us. And he was also instrumental in helping Dr. Gadekar in translating Don Stevens' book, Meher Baba, The Awakener of the Age, from English into Marathi. It took a couple of years, but he very diligently went to Dr. Gadekar and helped him in the translation. So that is our friend Datta Sanap. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Thank you, sir. Jai Baba. Jai
Okay,
Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Now I want to know whether Nan Umrigar has come in today or is she on leave. Okay, she may be on leave. No, acha. And then Dilshad Khajotia, is she on? Okay, Dilshad also is on leave. Okay, then we'll do one thing. If Nan comes in, Rakesh, let us know so that this was her query. If she doesn't come in by half time, I think we will still do the whatever we have done, and then she can hear it as an audio file.
Yes, Cyrus, I'm just muting everybody. You unmute yourself again.
Yes, please.
You do that, two guys around me. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Thank you. Now we are continuing with sparks from Meher Baba.
The spiritual journey does not consist in gaining what a person does not have, but in the dissipation of ignorance concerning himself and life, and the growth of understanding which begins with spiritual awakening. To find God is to come to one's own self.
It's such a short statement. We talk about spiritual journey. We take a journey, Padyatra, from this to that. We take some journey, what they call yatra pe jate hai. And we think that we are on a spiritual journey. There are many people who say, I am on the path for the last several years, etc., etc. And Baba has said that whosoever says that he is on the spiritual path is not. Very specifically, Baba said that, you know. So basically, what is the spiritual path? We call it a path. There is no laid down lane or a gully or a road or a path which we are supposed to follow. Nothing of that sort. The path lies within us. Everything lies within us. The spiritual journey, the involutionary path, the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, and whatever that we talk about, Baba says it is all within us. So spiritual path also is within us. And the spiritual path is covered, clouded, enveloped, engulfed by kachra, ignorance, garbage, samskaras, impressions. The more you get rid of the impressions or the samskaras, the more you are supposed to be on the path. I would put it that way. So basically, it is a dissipation of ignorance through awakening, through spiritual awakening. So that is the spiritual path. Now, Baba says very beautifully that when you enter the spiritual path, which is the first point of entry, which is called the first plane of consciousness, the involutionary journey begins with the first plane of consciousness, where you move in from the gross plane to the subtle plane. Subtle plane means plane of energy, urja. Right? Now, one of the very, what should I say, simple test of whether you are on that spiritual path or whether you are in the subtle plane first, a little more, second and third, is number one, you will lose your sense of taste, tongue, and you will lose your sense of touch. You will lose that. That means it will not affect you. Cold will not affect you. Heat will not affect you. You will lose that. That is what Baba said. That is one of the. I remember a WhatsApp joke that had come in some time back for me. WhatsApp. It says that when you have COVID-19, when you are infected with COVID-19, one of the symptoms is that you lose your sense of smell and sense of taste. So somebody sent a WhatsApp saying that the best way to do is that every day you take a glass of whiskey and sniff it. And if you are able to sniff the aroma of the whiskey, then as a second test, just to be doubly sure, you taste it. And if you can feel the taste and the smell, then hurrah, you are not infected by COVID. In the same way, when you enter the first plane, the sense of taste and the sense of touch goes away. And then you get access to certain powers. We call it Riddhi Siddhi. That means you can do chota mota chamatkar. Chota mota chamatkar would mean apart from healing the sick, apart from, filling a well which was dry, apart from tree is very barren and you just say leaves will come and fruits will come. These are called chota mota chamatkar. Including if you are on the third plane of consciousness, you can even bring back to life a pre-human species. That means if a fish is dead and if you have brought it from the market, from your favorite fisherwoman, and then if you say, wake up, the fish will immediately come back to life. Fish will come back, bird will come back, animals would come back, but not human beings. For human being to come back to life, that power is in the fourth plane of consciousness. That a person on the fourth plane of consciousness can create new universes, can create new life, can bring back a dead person alive. And yet, it is not perfection. It is not at all perfect. You are far, far away from the goal. So why I'm saying all this? Many people talk about the path, spiritual path, this, that, Baba says, and many people are saying, now I correct me if I'm wrong, those who are reading a lot, Baba told about his circle members only, that I take my circle members blindfolded so that they do not have access to these powers and so that they do not get awed or they do not get waylaid or that their journey is expedited, sped up, so that they don't mingle with all these aspects of power. I do not think Baba had said about this for everybody. You see, Baba says it is only for the circle members because there could be some who may say, I am on the path, but Baba has blindfolded me. I really do not know. I mean, I'm very happy if somebody is on the path, but I really don't know. So now coming back to I always have this habit of giving a tidbit of the surrounding periphery so that we understand Baba's message in a better light. It says, the spiritual journey does not consist in gaining what a person does not have. That means a person, that means a human being in the very first human form has everything that is required for God realization. There is nothing that he does not have. All that you have to do is to dissipate what is not you. And like Baba says, very beautifully, that spiritual progress or spiritual, whatever you call it, progress is not an accumulation, a gathering, a collecting from outside. It is an unfoldment from within. In other words, nothing is required from outside. So coming back to the reading, Baba says the spiritual journey does not consist in gaining what a person does not have. Why? Because he has everything. But in the dissipation of ignorance concerning himself and life. That means we are so full of ignorance concerning what is life all about, what am I all about, what is the purpose of life, what is the purpose of this form. We are so jumbled up, we are so confused, there is no clarity. Even if theoretical, intellectual clarity dawns, like in each one of us, we now at least know. We know a couple of things. Number one, that the creation is there only with one purpose, so that the creature in the creation knows that he himself is the creator. That is one thing. So in other words, now we also know that what is the human form for. Baba beautifully says the aim of life is to love God, and the goal of life is to become one with God. Period. So simply, that is the whole purpose, the whole and the sole purpose of this human body. Theoretically, we understand that, but we have to live such a life. We have to practice that. So Baba says that it is not that you're going to get something from outside, but it is the dissipation, letting go, cutting off, weaning away from that dissipation of ignorance concerning himself and life. Then Baba goes on to say, and the growth of understanding which begins with spiritual awakening. That means once we, as I said in the earlier sessions also, once we start internalizing and applying that little bit of knowledge, so-called spiritual knowledge, which we have gathered intellectually, superficially, if we apply that, then there is gradually an awakening, and then there is a growth. To find God is to come to one's own self. In other words, when you embark upon the search of God, and when you finally find God, what do you find? You find that you yourself were, are, and ever will remain God. So Baba says here, to find God is to come to one's own self. That means God realization is equal to self-realization. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? No, okay. So now we move on to the next para.
Rakesh has a question.
Okay, Rakesh, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just a second.
What happened? that Rakesh number 1 is not unmuting Rakesh number 2.
I know, I had to do it.
Yeah, Jai Baba, Sarji.
Jai Baba Rakesh dear.
Just want to know if Baba has ever defined the spiritual path.
This is the definition in a sense. Yes, of course. That there is no laid down path. It's only the dissipating of ignorance that brings you on the path. And there is, see, the path is not something physical. It is something interwoven within our own self. In other words, the less you are ignorant, the more you are going towards the path. It's like that. Got it? There is no question. There is no such laid down path. As many souls, so many paths. Like that.
Like that.
All right.
Not a defined set of do's and don'ts.
Yeah. Now, I think 1 minute. Nani has also come in. And Dilshad has also come in. Where's Dilshad Khajotia? And Dilshad, are you there?
Khajotia.
Where is it? You said she's there. I don't see Dilshad Khajotia. Anyway, if she's shy to show her face, never mind. Nani is bold to show her face.
Dilshad?
Where's Dilshad? She must have
No,
gone to...
I don't think she's there. I don't think she's
All right, okay,
coming.
there's some mistake here.
Yeah.
Hey, never mind.
Nan
Okay.
auntie is in.
Yeah,
Nan
Nani
auntie
is there. Nani.
Yeah.
And if you remember, you had asked me last time about angels, archangels, and ascended masters.
Yeah, the thanks here over.
Annie, do you remember? Yes. Yeah, okay. Now, I remember you had asked me earlier also about a few things like soulmates. You asked me about spirit guides. You asked me about twin souls. And you had asked me about ascended masters. Right? Yeah, correct. Now, so far as authentic Baba literature is concerned, so far I have not read anything on any of these, because Baba talks only of the highest. In other words, all that we are talking about, it is according to me, it's a very new, innovative words. Maybe 50, 60, 70, 100 years back. We talk about twin souls. We talk about ascended masters. We talk about soulmates. When somebody falls in love, for love at first sight, they say, oh my God, awesome, this, that. You are my soulmate. And then when they fight, they will beat each other with Bata souls. Like that. So I really don't know. At least what I'm trying to say is, I have not come across any such words in Baba's literature. So I don't, of course, they will all be existing. I'm not saying they are non-existing. They are existing in the domain of non-existence. In other words, they are all illusory phenomena. And somehow I don't get attracted to such things. So I searched for it, Nani, but I couldn't find anything. Okay. But I did find something about angels and archangels, which Baba also spoke about. I will read out, or maybe I'll ask Soumya to read that out. Certain aspects are very simple, as I had already told you, that these are the drop souls which have not tasted the so-called negative aspects of the flesh. Let's put it that way. They are unincarnate souls. That means they have not experienced the gross world at all. Not necessarily as human beings, but any form of grossness. They are latkaut in a sense, they have not come all the way up to the gross. They are somewhere, one is somewhere between the fifth and the sixth, one is somewhere between the third and the fourth, the archangels and the angels. They are not born all together. Baba says one at a time they are born, and in that very first life they get realization and then they go away. So that is what Baba had said about the angels and the archangels. This is in short. They are unincarnate souls. They are pure. They only do the will of God. In other words, God or the avatar or the perfect masters make use of those energies of those entities, let's put it that way, of those entities for doing their own spiritual work, because they are very pure souls. They have not been contaminated by the gross. But at the same time, Baba says that human beings are more fortunate than the angels and the archangels, because whilst human beings can see God on the sixth plane of consciousness and also become one with God, because they have this divine love and longing to become one with God, that divine love is not there amongst the angels and the archangels, and therefore they cannot see God and they cannot become one with God unless and until they incarnate one time only. They don't have to go through the 84 lakhs and all that, only once, and then they become one with God. So this is the general outline of what angels and archangels are. Now I have picked up a few aspects of it from Acha. Is Pia there? Pia is there today? Advocate Pia. All right, never mind. Because she had, in my earlier session, I did say that look up God Speaks. Then she looked it up and said, no, it's not there in God Speaks. It's not there in God Speaks. And I also just flipped and I said, sorry, I said God Speaks. It should be in Lord Meher. I just said it like that. But then when Nan asked the question, I again jogged my memory and I said, no, it must be in God Speaks. And I did find it in God Speaks. There are several pages, about 8 to 9 pages, where at different places Baba is talking about angels and archangels. So I have culled it out and Soumya will now read it out to you. If there is any questioning, we can take it later on. Come.
Angels and archangels. The angels, unembodied souls, are mere automatons for the will of God, and they do nothing which is not desired or prompted by God. These wishes happen to be mere expressions of divine power and activity which are all pervading. In short, angels are pure and not contaminated with physical embodiment. In this, they are superior to the man whose consciousness has not extended beyond the limitations of the gross, meaning a man not yet on the path. Paradoxically, man, the inferior, who has succeeded in being contaminated with physical embodiment, is actually the superior in the strength of the potentialities latent within him. Experiencing his imperfections, limitations, and weaknesses, he is potentially ripe to realize his real strength and purity, which are far above those of and beyond the reach of even the archangels. The archangels are the mediums for the expression of God's principal divine attributes of creating, preserving, and destroying limited life on an unlimited scale, and of communicating unlimited knowledge on a limited scale. The archangels are entities who always enjoy and never suffer. From the 7 lower to the middle.
Now when we talk about this, it is, I'm sure those who have not read God Speaks even once, it will go a little bumper, because here we are talking about a different aspect of what is known as the, what should I say, the fourth sphere. The fourth sphere. What is it exactly called? No. All right. See, there are 3 spheres we all know: gross, subtle, mental. And then there is the real, which means the truth, reality, Advait, whatever it is. But Baba says that between the gross and the subtle, there is a subsphere. Between the subtle and the mental, there is another subsphere. Between the mental and the final, the goal, there is another subsphere. And all this becomes a sort of a subsphere, and that is the 4th sphere. So what I'm trying to say is, when Soumya reads this, it's going to be a little difficult to understand. You need not bother about it. If you want further explanation, Baba calls it, sorry, I got the word. Baba calls it a composite sphere, and those of the thank you, darling, composite sphere. And those who are in the Pune group would remember, I'm sure Nanny also would remember, we had done this particular composite sphere in Zia Kama's, what is it called?
Talegaon
Talegaon, no, what is it called?
farmhouse.
It's a farmhouse, yeah. We had done a picnic in Talegaon farmhouse. Zia Kama's husband Noshir was having a farmhouse. So we had done the whole day session on the composite sphere. Nanny might remember that. So, and some of us, the oldies, I mean, not in the age, but those who were with the
Core group.
yeah, in the core group, they would remember. It was a fun time, and we could really understand the composite sphere beautifully. So what I'm trying to say is, Soumya will read. Yeah, I think it's better that we complete this. Let us read it, and if there is any question, then we'll look into that later on.
From the 7 lower to the 7 middle subspheres, inclusive of the subtle sphere, among other things, there are the abodes of the disembodied souls and unembodied souls.
Nanny, your
angels.
mic is unmuted. Can you just mute? Can you just mute it, please? Your mic. Thank you, dear. There was some sound coming in. So here, see, this is the subsphere between the gross and the subtle, where these archangels reside. That is the abode of, sorry, not archangel, where the angels reside. That's what I wanted to convey. Go ahead.
From the 7 middle to the 7 higher subspheres, inclusive of the mental sphere, amongst other things, there is the abode of the archangels.
This is where the archangels reside.
The abode of the archangels and supramental spheres. Of the 4th, the composite sphere, comes the 3rd, the mental sphere, and is nearest the 5th, the real sphere.
Pay attention.
This is true, yet not the whole truth. For in spite of its proximity, it cannot touch the real sphere. An archangel from the highest supramental sphere can never see God, whereas man in the 6th plane of the 3rd, the mental sphere, can and does see God face to face everywhere and in everything. The last point of the last of the sub-supramental sphere is what the Sufis call the Sadrat-ul-Muntaha, the last limit, beyond which, as is properly and rightly believed by the Muslims, even the Archangel Gabriel cannot go. Man has and man shall, because man alone can jump over the last 7 links of the real non-existent relative existences of all the 4 spheres into his really own, the 5th, the real sphere. In short, angels must necessarily cease to be angels and become man before they can reach the reality attainable to man. And when man ceases to be man and enters the I am God state, he realizes that angels and archangels are in fact his own attributes in one sense or another. God brings to play his 3 principal attributes, sifat.
Just the last line is, see that when we reach the I am God state, Baba says, he realizes that the person who has reached, he realizes that angels and archangels are in fact his own attributes in one sense or the other. That's what Baba keeps saying, that everything is within you. When Baba talks you, it doesn't mean this body, he means the real I, the real soul, which is nothing but the oversoul. God.
God brings to play his 3 principal attributes, sifat, of emanating, sustaining, and dissolving. This 3-in-1 state corresponds to the trinity of Vedanta: Brahma, creator; Vishnu, preserver; and Mahesh, destroyer. Sufi synonyms of which are the terms Afridgar, Parvardigar, and Fanakar. The three attributes of God are expressed through the three archangels: Israfil, the angel who creates life; Mikael, the angel who sustains life; and Israel, the angel who destroys life.
That's all. So I said, as I said, don't be confused with all these things. I just wanted to make this session a more or less complete with, I cannot say it's complete because there's a lot more in terms of basic aspect of what is an angel and what is an archangel. And, there's a lot more written in Nothing and the Everything also. If you, and somebody wants to see this composite sphere, can read God Speaks, second edition, page number 230, 31 and all that. So you'll find a lot of it. If anybody has any questions on this, you may ask,
Yes, sir.
because it may not be possible for me to explain the composite sphere in such a short time. I require charts and all that so that it really goes inside. Actually, it is very simple to understand, extremely simple, but it requires a certain way of doing it and a certain time frame. Okay, anybody has anything to ask?
We have 4 people. First, Ram uncle has a question.
Yes, Ram.
Hi, Cyrus. Aren't ascended masters, aren't they the same? I mean, aren't they humans who have gone through, cycles of reincarnation, to
Can you
balance?
speak a little loudly, Ram? I'm nothing wrong with your mic. Maybe my hearing is a little low. Yeah, go ahead.
Human beings.
Aren't ascended masters, aren't they humans who have gone through the cycles of reincarnation,
Yes.
evolved spiritually, to become God realized, or at least who have gone from being from fear of God to becoming loving God? That's
Yeah,
what.
but is it there in any Baba book? That's why I understand this. I understand who is an ascended and who is a master. I understand it thoroughly well. But why I don't want to get into it is because I could not find any such terminology in Baba's literature. And I try to stick as far as possible to any authentic Baba literature, which I could not find. If you do find, I'll be very happy to know. Because many people do ask me this question. And I know what is ascended, I know what's a master, I know spiritually advanced. But is there any such mention in any Baba's book?
I think it is confined mostly to Abrahamic religions.
Sorry?
It's confined to Abrahamic.
Abrahamic.
Religions.
No, I'm talking Baba's book. Baba's
No,
book.
it's not. That's what I'm saying. This
It's
word.
not. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Correct. Thank you.
Okay.
If you do find, because I know you two do a lot of reading, I would be very much obliged if you can find and let me know.
If I find it,
Yeah, okay.
I think there is a book by, I think, let me see, if I remember her name, Doreen Virtue.
Uh-huh.
Doreen. I think last name is Virtue.
Okay.
Rtue. So just if you can, I'll look it up.
Please look it up. Huh?
Okay.
But again, I wouldn't take her word for it for a simple reason that I can write a book where I can write descended masters, ascended masters, because it doesn't have any value unless Baba says that. If she says that Baba told her like this, maybe I'll believe that.
No, it's not Baba. I don't think she's
Exactly.
Baba's person.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else?
Pia wants to know if you
Yeah, there's Dilshad Kapadia.
Yes, Dilshad.
Jai Baba
Jai Baba.
to both of you and to everyone.
Thank you. Jai
So
Baba.
it's nice to see your smiling face. Missed you for 2 days. Cyrus Ji, I just wanted to ask, is there a differential between archangel and angel? As in, is there a gradation? Or
I would say yes, because archangels are representative of the three attributes of God, which is the creator, sustainer, and dissolver or destroyer. So that is, in a sense, I would say a more prominent place. And angels are those which, this is my understanding, which are being used by the masters to do their own work. That energy is being used by the masters, whereas those are three prominent attributes, archangels.
So there would be a
And
level.
similarly, even their location, you know, in our terminology, we say when you take a higher floor in a building, you are supposed to be very, very elite. So in the same way, the angels and the archangels, their residence is different, as is informed over here.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Okay, anybody else?
Meher Daruwala.
Jai
Meher
Baba. No.
Darwala.
Oh, Meher, bolo. Unmute yourself, Meher.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, dear.
Cyrus uncle, what does exactly Shehnaz have? Because she talks a lot, our Roshni, about angels.
Okay.
Is there something different in this?
See, according to me, it can't be different, but you
Yeah.
can create somebody different. I can call Soumya my angel, you see. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is there cannot be two angels. What Baba says is the final thing, but you can always create somebody as an, oh, you are my angel. You know, we say that, no? So maybe, I don't know which angel she is following. I really don't know.
Because she has those cards, you know,
I know that.
Yeah. And even on her door, she has angel. That is why
Yes,
she goes
yes,
on
yes,
talking
yes,
to me about
yes,
angels all the
Yeah,
time.
but
Believe in
it's
it
all
and
an
everything.
illusion. See, it's all an illusion because angels don't have form. How can you have something, a form to an angel, isn't it?
Yes. No, I just
Angels are
thought so. I
never.
just wanted to ask you that. Thank you. Jai Baba.
What I'm
Thank
trying
you.
to say is, you can always conjure up anything in your mind, and that is good for you. That is there. That is right. I am not disputing anything that she is saying or she is doing. All I am saying is, whatever Baba has said is the truth, and I can always make up something from there. Got it? Thank you, dear. Anybody else?
Yasmin.
Yeah.
No.
Cyrus, is there
Yes.
any description in God Speaks in this pages 230 onwards where Baba explains how these drop souls became angels or archangels?
They became in the, yes, there is an explanation. Simple explanation is that they did not make it to the gross. They remained at the time of creation. Now, frankly, we don't understand. Frankly, I don't understand. I can't say we. I don't understand this entire theory because we are just parroting whatever Baba is saying. You know, when we say a whim and an urge and this and that, we are just saying it. I don't know. But only thing Baba writes that they did not make it to the gross. So they are there. They are pure souls, and the masters make use of that pure energy for the good of the creation. That's about all. Got it?
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Dear.
you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Dilshad again.
Okay, sure.
Just one small clarification that I would like to have. When you're talking about spheres, is it the planes that we are talking about?
That's
or
right.
three balls?
Yes. It's very beautifully, it's a very, I use a word sometimes, you know, because it's a very intoxicating chapter. It's very beautiful. Do go through it. I'm sure you'll be going through it when you do God Speaks. You know, see, we have a gross sphere. We have a subtle sphere. Sphere 1, sphere 2, mental sphere 3. Am I right? Gross, subtle, mental. 1, 2, 3. Am I right? Yeah, okay. Between the 1 and the 2, there are 7 layers, which is called the lower subsphere. Between the 2 and the 3, the middle subsphere. Between the mental and the real, which is the truth, the higher subsphere. Now, all these spheres makes the 4th sphere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th is the reality. You getting me? And between the 1 and the 2, the angels' abode is there. Between the 2 and the 3, the archangels' abode is there. And although they are so close to the mental, they cannot see God because they don't have a human form. That's about all. It's a very interesting chapter. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now,
Sir Rakesh has a question and even
yeah,
Dilshad.
go ahead, Rakesh. Go ahead. Even Rakesh Acharya had sent me something. He said, "Can you
Samita.
do this? Let me see." Okay, you go ahead, Rakesh ji.
You just mentioned that angels and archangels could not make it to the cross.
That's
I
right.
wonder whether they couldn't make it or they were destined not to. They
Well,
were,
ultimately, everything is destined only.
I mean,
See,
they were
in
held back
the
by
final, yeah. In the final analysis, it's all destined, isn't it? When Baba says, who is going to get mukti, who's going to become perfect, who's going to be a salik, who's going to be a mazub, who's going to be a perfect master, it's all decided at the time of creation. So obviously, this must have also been decided. He did
already.
not say that specifically, but I'm sure it should be because that's what he said, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Now Rakesh has, Acha, if there are any question, let me know.
Yes.
Rakesh has sent me a very small message. He said, "Can you take it?" Rakesh, do you? Okay. Here, this is our Rakesh, the Postmaster General, who has sent this small message, and he wanted me to explain. It's very small. Love is a strange binding. It binds and unwinds. See, when you bind, you are actually winding, isn't it? So here there is a dichotomy. So Baba says, love is a strange binding. It binds and unwinds. Now one must understand, again, we are going a little deeper. Many people say that in the gross human form, when you are spending samskaras, you are unwinding samskaras. My understanding of this samskaric, whatever you call it, Bhelpuri, is this, that you are not unwinding. Your unwinding process starts only from the first plane of consciousness, is what I understand. It starts with the involutionary journey. Now, if I'm expending, spending, utilizing, using, balancing, I can use any of these words, but I cannot use the word unwinding, because according to my limited understanding, unwinding starts in the process of involution and not before. So I just wanted to clarify that, because many people do ask me this, oh, I'm spending, utilizing, so I'm unwinding. No, according to my understanding, no. So here Baba says, love is a strange binding. See the choice of words. It is binding, but actually it is unwinding. Love is a strange binding. It binds and unwinds. The more you bind yourself to the beloved, which means the beloved, capital B, God himself, Baba himself, the greater the freedom, that means unwinding, you have. But such love is very rare. It's a very, very rare thing. To love itself is a very rare thing. We talk about love very loosely. But actually, when we talk about Baba's love or real love, pure love, it really is a tremendous outgoing for the love, concern, outpouring for the other. No thought of self, no comfort, no convenience, no what is in it for me, what is my payoff, nothing of that sort. Then Baba goes on to say, in fact, love is an ocean of fire that you have to cross to meet the beloved. In other words, you have to undergo tremendous suffering. You have to let go. See, when we talk about suffering here, many people say, oh, I am suffering, I am having cancer and I am suffering. That means Baba is loving me. Of course, Baba loves everybody. But in my limited understanding, when Baba talks about tremendous suffering, this suffering comes when we are waging a jihad against our own lower self. When we are fighting our samskaras, when we are fighting our tendencies, when we are fighting our impulsions, we are impelled to take certain action. Anger, greed, lust, jealousy, hatred, pride, attachment, all these we are fighting against. And that causes suffering. In my understanding, that is what Baba says, that your love for your beloved should be so supreme that you let go each and everything which is corresponding to your false self. And that is suffering. There is no doubt about it. So Baba says, in fact, love is an ocean of fire that you have to cross to meet the beloved. And then Baba says, so love, more and more love. Meher Baba. This was given in Nasik on the 9th of February, 1937. So, Rakesh had asked me to speak on this. If anybody has any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll move on.
So, Ram uncle and Meher Kripa.
Sure. Ram, go ahead. Ram will never have a question. He will only supply me with some additional information. Isn't it?
Yes, you're exactly correct. I was
Go
trying
ahead.
to see,
Go ahead.
I was trying to see, how come there are no archangels in any Hindu scriptures? You don't have angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen in Zoroastrianism, you do have.
See, what I understand, yeah, I got your point, my dear Ram. Angels and archangels are the attributes, and I can say attributes. Now in Hinduism, they have this 33 lakhs of, some devas, So in the Nothing and the Everything, Bauji writes about this as corresponding to the angels.
Okay.
That there is Indra, there is this, there is that, there is one who will control the rain, there is one who will control the wind, there is one superior to the sea, and all that. So according to the Nothing and the Everything, Bauji talks about such 33, what is it, 33,000 or whatever, 33 crores of attributes of God as those, so he is equating that to the angels. So he is, what should I say, he is mixing up whatever, mixing in the sense, I am talking positively, that he said that this is what Baba meant, and this is there in the Hindu scriptures as well. That is what he says. But I haven't taken from there. I have just taken from God Speaks.
Yeah. But,
Yeah,
but
go ahead, Ram.
Archangels are not created, they're not born. Whereas,
No.
But whereas Devas, Indras and Indra, Kubera and all, they all were born. So when they were doing the manthan, the churning, so they were born at that point.
Okay.
So I was wondering, if it was Baba's definition.
No idea. No idea, absolutely.
Or
No
Bauji's interpretation.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Jai Baba.
I
Jai
think
Baba.
Meher Krupa. Yes, Meher Krupa. Jai Baba.
I may not be able to put the way you are putting so nice words, but I remember, I think in God Speaks only, what Ram ji is telling, the travel of deity, it is not born. What Baba says is that the journey, when the soul is departed from the oversoul, who am I? And then the soul's journey starts, right?
Yes.
From the stone and all that. So those souls, they are in between. Before they come to this stage, they realize, oh, I am the part of that oversoul.
Okay.
And then they don't have to take birth and go from all through these stages. And these souls, which in between realize their real state, are angels or deities, devtas. That is what I remember. I think maybe in God Speaks only you can find it out.
No, in
And
God
one
Speaks
more
though it is
thing-
not there. But who was taking this course? Who said this? Or you read this? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Baba's
You
literature
read
only.
it.
I think must be-
No, I have not
if I'm
complained.
not wrong. And
Okay.
this is very clearly said that in between the travel, that soul comes to know the real state.
Okay.
Then that is deity, and still they envy human birth. But deities are not born. And
got it.
in Hindu also there are devtas, angels, Devdut and all that is there. But
Okay.
this is very clear given in that.
Okay. Now listen, Meher Kripa. One thing is, I have not read it in God Speaks, that's for sure. I would earnestly request you, because it makes sense. What you say makes sense. So what I would earnestly request you, I'm giving you some homework for 2-3 days. You just try to find out the source so that we all become more enlightened, because what you are saying does make sense, that that realization would have dawned at that particular point in time, and they chose not to take the gross form, you know, because it is. I agree, but that I would love to you to work on it and try to find out wherever and get back to us anytime later. There's no hurry in this life, but at least in this life.
All the books are in Thane, and here.
Anyway. Okay. Now, anybody else has anything to say?
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. All right. So now we still have time. What I would do is, unfortunately, Dilshad is not there. Dilshad Kajotia. She had asked me a question. Of course, she has forgotten, but generally, I don't forget such things. I do forget many things which are concerning homework, which Soumya tells me to do. I forget a lot of times, lot of things. But she had told me what is the difference between Baba's wish and Baba's order. And my understanding is that Baba has not ordered anything except for this one order which we all know, that the Dhuni has to be lit on every 12th of the month at Mehrabad. Beyond that, I don't think he has given any generalized order. Not even for silence, not even for Aarti prayers as order. So here I found something from Erach's book, The Ancient One. So I would like Soumya to read it out little bit only. So that will give an understanding of what is the meaning of Baba wants, Baba wishes, and Baba wills. So what is the difference between that? Erach writes, insofar as the mandali is concerned, and I'm sure Dilshad will hear it on the audio recording. So here, when one of the mandali.
When one of the mandali requested a clarification regarding his will, his wish, as they pertain to the mandali, Baba replied, when I say to the mandali, I want you to do this, it means I would like you to do this if you can. It equals a request on my part. When I say I wish you to do this, it means I want you to obey whether you can or cannot. It is an order, and the chance of my wish being thwarted is by your disobedience. When I say I will you to do this, it means you are to do it definitely and automatically, and you are able to do it because I make it possible.
So these are the three distinctions. Read the source.
The Ancient One, page 130.
These are the three distinctions which Erach draws. What is the meaning of Baba? I want, I wish, and I will. So I thought, let it go on record that this is what is Baba wanted for the mandali. And so far as the order is concerned, I am not aware of any. Individually, Baba would have ordered 100 different things to 100 different people, or maybe 1,000 different things. But that's a different matter. There is no general order which is given to all. Yes, Baba's my wish is there, but that's not an order. That is left to us to follow. All right. So now we still have a little time. So we'll continue with the reading of the sparks. Yeah, go ahead.
To establish love for the truth is the beginning of right valuation and the beginning of the undoing of the constructions of the ego, which exhibits itself through false valuation. Any action that expresses the true values of life contributes towards the disintegration of the ego, which is a product of ages of ignorant action. The disintegration of the ego is a condition for realizing truth.
Basically, whatever we are today is a result of all our choices we have made in the past. Any choice that we make, good or bad, from the platform of I am the doer, it binds. We've all done that before also. It is a binding. It may be a good binding, it may be a bad binding, but it binds. So what is important is that everything has to be viewed from the standpoint of truth. Everything has to be done from the standpoint of true value, or real value, or correct value. Now, according to the highest truth, Baba says that it is I who is experiencing myself through you. In other words, it is Baba who is working through us. But because we think that I am thinking, I am speaking, I am doing, that is why it binds. If we honestly and sincerely, and I mean we should be honestly honest and sincerely sincere. If we honestly and sincerely think, speak, and behave as if it is not I who is doing it, as if it is Baba who is doing through us, then in my understanding, that is the starting point of the disentanglement of the ego, of the diminishing of the ego, because the ego feeds on the I. I have done this, I am doing this, I am going to do this. And ego is the real thing, but unfortunately the real I has mixed itself up with the false I, which is the false ego, and thinks that that is the real ego. So I always, whenever Baba's words are there, I try to give a little background or a little, a periphery, a platform. Okay, a platform. What I'm trying to say is, when we say, then we are able to understand Baba's words perhaps a little more deeply. Baba says, to establish love for the truth is the beginning of right valuation. To establish love for the truth. Now, what is the truth? Baba says, God is the only truth. What is the truth? Everything that we see, everything that we do, everything that we perceive, everything that we experience is untruth. That's what Baba says. For my experience, it may not be, but Baba says that, So once we cultivate that love for the truth, Baba says that in truth, everyone and everything is everyone and everything at the same time and for all time. That means what? In truth, there is only one. There is only unity. There is only Advait. There is only oneness. We see all the divisions, high, low, sick, healthy, handsome, ugly, whatever, Easterner, Westerner, man, woman, all these are untruth. That's what Baba says. So here Baba says, to establish love for the truth is the beginning of right valuation and the beginning of the undoing of the constructions of the ego. That means that is the beginning, that whatever you have constructed, scaffolding banake of the ego, we have so much protected our ego, that is the undoing of the construction of the ego, which exhibits itself through false valuation. Baba's words are a little tongue twister, but we need, that means ego always exhibits false valuation. The moment you start creating love for the truth, all the constructions of the false valuation starts getting, this sentence, demolished, starts getting demolished. I'll repeat the first sentence again. To establish love for the truth is the beginning of right valuation and the beginning of the undoing of the constructions of the ego which exhibits itself through false valuation. I suppose it's quite clear now. Then we go on to the second. Any action that expresses the true values of life contributes towards the disintegration of the ego, which is a product of ages of ignorant action. Ego is the product of ages of ignorant action. In this life, in this time, we are fortunate to at least catch hold of the avatar and his teachings. So at least we should make an attempt, we should start understanding what is false, what is truth, and try as far as possible to follow the truth and to disown or to, disentangle ourselves from the false. I'll repeat this sentence. Any action that expresses the true values of life. When we say about true values of life, I would put it, all those noble values of love, of caring, of concern, of consideration, of tolerance, of forgiveness, of charity, of giving in. All these aspects, in my understanding, are contributing to the true values of life. So Baba says any action that expresses the true values of life, and when you are expressing it moment to moment in our daily life, it contributes towards the disintegration of the ego. It contributes to the disintegration of the ego, which is a product of ages of ignorant action. Our ego is a product of ages of ignorant action. And since it has been there for such a long eons, you can say, at least let us make a start of disintegrating this false ego by trying to imbibe in us these basic concepts of truth or true values in life, so that by and by, it may not happen overnight, it may take lifetimes, we never know, but at least let us make a start somewhere so that we are now, let's say, disentangling ourselves or dismantling the structure of the false ego. The disintegration of the ego is a condition for realizing truth. Obviously, in order to realize the truth, we have to give up the untruth. It's as simple as that. And the untruth is what? The false ego. The truth is what? The real ego. There's a real ego also, which is the truth. In other words, when we finally reach the end of the junction or the realization of God, what happens is the transformation from the false ego to the real ego or the truth. That the ego is never annihilated. You cannot destroy the ego, because ego is the real thing. Ego is astitva. Ego is the reality. Only thing is that ego, which is the real ego, which is the real I, has, through our ignorance, lifetimes of ignorance, enmeshed itself, mixed up itself with the false, limited body, mind, spirit, soul concept. Body, I would not say soul, the body and mind, the ideas, the thoughts, the emotions and all the feelings, the speech. It got enmeshed in all these false aspects of the real I, and the real I thought that is the real I. So that's the whole paragraph. Anybody has any questions on that? You can ask me. Any?
Yes, Meher Chand uncle.
I don't have a question, but I have a correction.
I know you never have a question. Go ahead, Ram.
Not. I do have a lot of questions.
No.
If I start asking questions, then there's no end to it. So I stand corrected. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told
please.
wrong information about Indra. Indra's parents are Aditi and Rishi Kashyap.
I know.
Sorry, I
That's
gave
what
the wrong information.
I know. That's
No,
what.
I'm getting old. My memory cells are getting replaced.
But you say you stand corrected, but actually you are sitting. Now you stand. Now correct. Now you stand corrected. Okay, thank you, Ram. Thank you, Ram. Because I know I did read a lot about Indra and other aspects in the nothing and the everything, but I chose to stick to God Speaks because that is the most authentic literature in Baba's time. All right. Thank you, Ram. Thank you. Anybody else has anything to ask, say? I know it's a little, that's why I said that one day in a week we should take some kind of, stories. I don't mean your stories. I meant Baba's stories. Okay. And Meher Daruwala suggested, why don't we do some Baba quotes? And I couldn't understand what she was requesting because I told her, I said, that's exactly what we are doing. We are doing Baba's quotes only. But then I also told her that if you come across a Baba quote, a Baba's paragraph or something, which you find really very interesting and very enlightening, then do read it out in the forum, in this forum, and I will try to explain it as best as I can. So Meher would be doing that maybe from next turn onwards, if she has a paragraph or whatever to speak on. Just as how Rakesh requested that I speak on that particular one about love. Okay, anybody, anything else?
So we have two more people, Meher Chand uncle and Meher
Yes,
Daruwala.
go ahead, Merchant.
See, I remember one more order of Baba. You said only to lit Duni, but there's one more of order of Baba.
Please go ahead.
Celebrate my birthday wherever you are.
Local
That's one
center.
order. And other thing I want to ask about is Money Auntie is an archangel?
How would I know?
Because,
Bill
just-
and Mary Beckett. You know William and Mary Beckett.
No,
William
why
and Mary
is it-
Beckett.
why-
Baba said that they are my archangels. Baba
But
said
why-
about
why- why I'm
For money,
saying-
I don't know.
No, why I'm telling you, see, when I ask a question, what is my doubt also I have to express.
Yes, sir.
What-
Money cannot be an archangel or an angel because Baba said that in the next life or whatever life,
That's
she
the
will
reason
become
only.
a perfect master.
That's the reason only. What is mentioned in this is, after only one birth of lifetime as a human being,
Exactly.
that archangels receive the liberation from all births and deaths.
Correct.
And same infinite bliss realized. So taking this as a clue, I'm asking you.
No, money cannot be. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Money cannot be for the simple reason that then it should be her last life. And Baba said she is going to be a perfect master. So it doesn't stand. But I do agree with you on the birthday issue. But I am not very sure whether Baba made it like a perpetual. Even after Baba dropped his body, it is the same thing as a derivative. You are a legal person. It's not a conclusive evidence. It's a derivation, It's a derivative. It's not something that Baba said. For example, on silence, Baba never said that after I drop my body, you should continue with the silence. In the same way, I don't think Baba said that after I drop my body, you should continue to celebrate at your local center and not come to Meherabad. I'm not very sure about it. If you can
That
find
is
out,
why
I would love to.
why I have to feel is, once one of my friend from Hyderabad,
Yes.
who has gone to work to Bombay,
Yes.
so he went to Meherabad.
Yes.
Then Money Auntie and Eros said, "What made you to come here on 20? You don't know that Baba's order? You should."
Yeah.
He said, "I've come to Bombay. There's a center even in Bombay. Why should I?" I said, "Wherever you are."
Yes.
That's what
Yes,
Baba.
yes.
You should have gone
So
to Bombay.
I'm glad you brought this up because at least when Baba was physically present, and I could extend it to now in this time also, and it is for all of us to realize that Baba's wish was that his birthday should be celebrated at the local center, wherever you may be. And of course, the Amar Tithi, we all go to Mehrabad. But yes, thank you. I give that. I don't want to give it a conclusive order, but it's more or less like, yes, it can pass.
Yeah.
Let's be the benefit of doubt. Yes. Thank you.
It is.
No, I would not say it.
Shira, he told even Shira.
But that was, darling, when he was in the physical form. Not he. There is no instruction. Mani and Iraj may have said it, but again, I am a little very sticky, chipku, in a sense. Has Baba said it? Is it there in any authentic literature?
During his lifetime, if he's...
During his lifetime is a different matter. Anyway, but I said, as I said, we'll give it a. Oh, bail pe chhod dega usko, chhod jane do. Thank you, Merchant. Thank you. Anybody else? Anything?
Meher Daruwala and Yasmin, and even Pari wanted to share something.
Yeah, please. Let's break this a little early because I think God Speaks will be now going on in another 15-20 minutes. Yeah, go ahead. Meher Daruwala.
Okay. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Cyrus uncle, I didn't understand about this ego thing. Can you just explain it again, please?
Okay. In short, I will tell you. In short.
Yeah.
Whatever we are today.
Yeah.
Is based on all our ignorant actions of the past.
Okay.
Now we have realized Baba's literature, where Baba says that we have to inculcate within us love, care, consideration, forgiveness, tolerance, and all those aspects, the noble aspects of spirituality, with the understanding that not I am doing this, but Baba is doing through us. Baba is doing through me. And then perhaps, I'm just saying perhaps we will be able to gradually get rid of a little portion of our ego, and then gradually over a long period of time, we should be able to dismantle our false ego. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Jai Baba. Thank you.
Jai Baba. Okay, anybody else?
Cyrus uncle.
Pari has no ego. Pari is
No.
the space angel.
I wanted to share something completely non-Baba related, but it reminded me of you and the question that we keep asking you very often. So this was a WhatsApp message that Mummy received and she read it for me.
Yes.
And it goes like, a child once asked God that if everything, as you say, if everything is preordained, then why should I make a wish or ever pray to you? And God replied, because in certain chapters of your life, I have written
Correct.
as you wish.
As you wish. Wow,
So
very
that
good.
reminded me of you. So
Very
that's just something I wanted to share. And I also wanted to let you know about the twin souls that you were talking about. It's not
Yes.
mentioned in any authentic Baba literature, as you mentioned.
No.
But in Lord Meher, when Baba had gone to Myrtle Beach, he had told Elizabeth Patterson that Norina was her twin soul. And after Norina passed away and Jane had come to the center, Jane Haynes, Baba said Elizabeth is fortunate that she has two twin souls. So Norina was her first twin soul and Jane was her second twin soul. That was mentioned in Lord Meher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But then again, I fully trust what you are saying, because I don't want to get into that, because then so many twin souls will come up on the group itself. You see?
See, that's why I said it's not in any authentic Baba
No, but I
literature,
know
like
about
you
this,
said.
but I know.
Hanji.
Thank you, dear.
Hanji.
Thanks a lot. Anybody else? Okay, so I think that's we call it a day. Almost 6:15. Thank you very much. Thanks for all of your attendance, and thank you, Baba, for bringing us together. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Jai Baba. Thank you. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you,
you.
Cyrus.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Jai
you,
Baba.
everybody.
Works in a shoe shine shop. Where she
Thank you,
signs,
Soumya.
she sits. And where she sits, she signs.
Ah.
Jai Baba, everyone. Bye.